This is Ramalinga Prasad Kuppa. Welcome to my channel Pharma World. Today's topic is how to face an audit or inspection. This is part 2, QC related. Let us see the step 1, the hardware part of the audit preparation. Arrange clean and correct fit aprons at the entrance in the change room of the QC lab for the inspectors. Before the inspector comes to QC lab, arrange clean aprons which should be correct sized and fitting comfortably to the inspector. It is recommended to have velcro closures instead of buttons. There is a possibility that buttons may come off if they hold loose on the aprons. It is also recommended not to have pockets on the aprons. Keep necessary aprons neatly ironed for the inspector to use. Also arrange necessary personal protective equipment like cap, overshoes, safety glasses as appropriate. Wherever necessary, the PPEs also must be provided. Many people call the overshoes as shoe covers also. Routinely also, it is recommended that all the persons working in the QC lab should have eye protection by means of goggles as a matter of safety to avoid injury to the eyes by any accidental spillages. Advise the inspector politely to switch off the mobile phones before entering into the laboratory. This reflects the manufacturer's attitude and compliance to safety for entry into restricted areas. But make sure that nobody else has mobile phones in the QC lab at that time. Let the inspector sign in the entry register if there is a requirement to enter into the restricted area like QC lab. If there is a display board at the entrance of the laboratory that the QC is restricted entry, this system of making inspectors sign in the register will reflect your attitude towards compliance to the systems. Keep all the cupboards, drawers or workbenches identified unambiguously and store only the identified and indexed items there. Identify each cupboard and drawers with its content. You can affix a label with a list of items in it. This is very important. Any cupboard that is not identified should be empty. Never mess up the cupboards with papers, copies of old version SOPs, sample packets, PPEs, personal belongings, pins, staplers, etc. Assign a place for everything and keep everything in its place. Keep all the cupboards and drawers fit correctly and snugly. Keep the operating procedures, calibration records for each equipment in the cupboard just below the location of the equipment for easy and quick retrieval. This way you can show the procedures and calibration records quickly to the inspector. Retrieval time also impacts the attitude of the inspector. Your quicker optimum response helps the audit process go smoothly. Never allow the inspector to remind you for the same document. This way your life is much easier. Valid calibration tags should be in place for all equipments. This is another important aspect which should never be neglected or ignored. The calibration labels should have valid due date always. Even the reagents that are placed on the racks or storage areas should have valid use before date. Keep the surroundings of all equipment clean and tidy. Keep a clean and pleasant appeal to the inspector. So it is always necessary to keep a clean appeal. It should look clean and never look new. Keep a valid copy of relevant SOPs accessible for quick reference if required. Let us see the step 2 software part of the audit. Be confident of your area of operations. Make sure that you have full knowledge of the operation as described in the SOP. The hardware part should give confidence to the auditor that the GLP systems are in place in QC lab. Respond confidently to the inspector. Never fumble on words. Language is not really important here. While explaining, you don't have to be Shakespeare to be great on English. Never feel inferiority on this. The inspectors are trained and skilled warriors. They can estimate accurately your capability on your reflexes and body language. Never try to confuse the inspector. That could lead to greater problems. When the inspector comes to your area, wish briefly, have eye-to-eye contact. Never look around or at supervisor with scary look. This will make the inspector suspicious of you, your capability on the operation. This gesture makes the inspector feel that you are on normal routine job and not specially posted for the inspection. Don't be in a hurry to volunteer information to the inspector. Answer only if questioned, that too to the extent query requires. This is important. Let the inspector complete the query. Sometimes it may be difficult to follow the accent. Don't worry. Request the inspector with a please to repeat the question once again. Still you don't get it? Take support of the supervisor for clarity. When once you understood the question fully, give appropriate and adequate response. Keep all the relevant SOPs and records handy to submit in case requested. This would avoid unnecessary tension on the availability of SOPs. Check once before the start of the audit. During quick round of QC, never flog the inspector or stare at. Be on your job as usual. Never stand with folded hands. If you don't have any specific job to do at that time, leave away from that place. Don't hang around with curiosity. Inspector is not a celebrity who came to visit you or take a selfie with you. The inspector is there with a mission to check GMP and GLP compliance. So focus only on that mission within your operating area. Never answer unrelated queries. Direct the inspector politely to the correct person who does that job. Don't be over smart. If the query is not related to you, never involve. While the inspector watches your activity, never get distracted. Don't look at the inspector repeatedly to confirm whether or not you carry out the job as described in the SOP. This happens frequently. Don't get scared when the inspector is around. Do your job exactly as described in the SOP, as routine as you do every day. Let us see some of the key items to focus. Store the reference standards as per prescription on the label, sealed properly. Update the temperature record of the storage area of the standards. Don't leave any unidentified solutions in that area. This is important. All standards need not be stored at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius or 15 degrees Celsius. Store as per the prescription on the label or certificate of analysis provided by the agency or supplier. Make a detailed list with storage conditions and store accordingly. Maintain the consumption record updated. Some inspectors may look into this record also. So keep the record updated. Keep handy the reference standard preparation and standardization records. This is critical point. All the products are released comparing with these standards. So it should be established unambiguously. It is required to document how potency is used in the calculations, like as such or on an address basis, etc. You should have justification on equivalency of the reference standards to other pharmacopoeias. You may use the same standard for USP, EP or IP. This should be justified scientifically. For justification, if analytical methods are same in all pharmacopoeias, justification is easier. If not, you may have to analyze the standard with other compendial methods and establish equivalency. Keep similar records for secondary standards also. So you have to have the same strategy is required for the secondary working standards also. Let us see how the instruments with audit trail are to be handled during the audit. Check the log browser and find out if there are any deviations like altering, aborting, re-injection, reintegration, etc. and prepare full justifications for submitting the data when requested. Check the log browser for any untoward recordings and prepare justifiable reports for any deviations if existing. Honest and scientific justification will bail you out of the review by the inspector. So work out well with the team. Never disable the audit trail function. The online server is a lie detector. It records such things in red color. This is a crime. The intentions are doubted. This will be done only for data falsification. If you are caught on this without justification, you are in trouble. The SOP on access controls should be described in finer details with different layers of operations clearly defined. The procedure on access control and routine rights practices will make the inspector feel very comfortable on data integrity. Never use others' password to open any log browser. This practice is unethical. This is like using somebody's PIN of ATM to withdraw cash. The user is likely to lose. In case of any malpractices, this should never be done. Call the particular person to open the log browser if required. Let us see how the analytical method validation documents have to be reviewed for the purpose of the audit. All compendial test methods should be verified. The verification should be done as per USP 1226 and maintain records for such activities being carried out. Generally, in QC lab, there is less focus on the verification activities of the compendial methods. Compliance to system suitability parameters cannot be considered as verification activity. There is a clear prescription on the verification activities in USP 1226. You may refer Q to A or any other compendia. You get the same information. All non-compendial test methods should be validated as per USP 1225. So any test method that is not part of any official compendia needs to be validated as per USP 1225 chapter. All cleaning validation testing methods should be validated to meet the limits as derived and the data made available for review by the inspector. The cleaning validations should have discussion on swab, rinse evaluations, calculations of MACO, etc. File the main validation protocol and report in one file and supporting documents in a separate file. This is easier way of presentation. If the inspector is satisfied with the protocol and report, it may not be necessary for review of the supporting documentation. If all are put together, there may be curiosity for the inspector to look into the more details. So don't volunteer unnecessarily. Let us see how the equipment qualification documents are handled for the audit. Review and keep ready the qualification documents of instruments like HPLC or GC primarily. Also, records for other electronic equipment should be kept ready. Most of the inspectors prefer to review the qualification documents of HPLC or GC, but it is not necessary that they may restrict to only this type of equipment. So it is recommended to keep ready the qualification documents for the other routine equipments also. Detailed qualification for electronic online servers should be done with challenging the test scripts and access controls, and records be available for submission to the inspector if requested. This is very important. You may have to work with the supplier on the qualification of this. They are well trained, and without their support you will not be able to qualify effectively. For such qualifications, there should be evidence of signatures on the qualification documents by the supplier also. Requalification documents should also be kept ready for any modifications, additions, deletions in the approved qualification status. So if any modifications are done, these requalification documents should reflect the data completely. Let us see how you prepare for the stability monitoring. Normally, it is not required to take a print of the stability temperature data for every 24 hours and file. It should be done only when there are excursions in the mean kinetic temperature, that is MKT. Most of the stability chambers have continuous monitoring of temperature and humidity. If the inspector requests any data from a specific period, that could be printed out and submit. Routinely, you don't have to keep a daily 24-hour record printed and filed. However, if there are excursions in the mean kinetic temperature, it should be acknowledged, justified if there is any departure from the average temperature in the entire 24-hour period. Please note that this is a mean kinetic temperature and not absolute temperature. You have to calculate that. Because of the constraint, that part will not be discussed here. Please go through internet for calculation of the mean kinetic temperature. It is really interesting subject. Keep the sample register updated and samples arranged in a neat and tidy fashion, indexed. Stability samples loading, withdrawal should be recorded in a controlled register. Keep the relevant SOPs of stability, operation of stability chambers and sample register at the workplace. This is a requirement for compliance to system. Let us see how to handle the retention samples. Guideline says only as retention samples. However, there are other terminologies like control samples or reference samples in practice. Try to maintain the control sample room at 25 degrees Celsius. Arrange the control samples in an indexed fashion, easy to retrieve. It is recommended to maintain the temperature in control room at 25 degrees Celsius. This temperature generally protects the product from deterioration. It should be indexed product wise and year wise. This system is easy to retrieve. There should be restriction for entry into the room. Display the list of persons who are authorized to enter at the entrance of the retention sample room. The control sample room is not a thoroughfare. It is a critical area. Entry into it should be restricted. Maintain the register for control samples updated. The data should also include annual verification of the control samples for any potential issues. The register should be in the control samples room only. Let us see the important step 3, the audit closeout. By now, the audit success is known. If all the points are covered and there are no serious deficiencies, it is successfully done. By the trend of the audit, by now it must be clear on outcome. If there are only few minor observations, you are almost through the inspection. Try to convince the inspector with correct data and justification for any miscommunication that might lead to potential non-conformity. During the laboratory tour, if the requested data could not be presented properly, the same point may be highlighted during the closeout meeting and try to submit the correct data with justification why it could not be shown during the tour. Inspector may accept your point of view. Don't argue on wrong point. You will have more problems. It is not good to argue on wrong point. This could lead to more serious problems. Note down all the audit observations made by the inspector and compare with the notes you had recorded during tour of QC laboratory. This is a good habit, but if any points discussed during the tour did not appear in the final report, don't prompt the inspector on that issue. The inspector intentionally would have left that point in record. But if there are any points that are not discussed during the tour and appear in the final report, highlight that point and try to show compliance to that before the audit close out. Since the observations, if any, are recorded, make a plan of action with timelines to address the issues for closeout. We have the question paper already with us. So prepare good response as there is adequate seat time till the audit report is received. Don't wait till the report comes in hand. You should follow all QMS requirements of initiating deviation report followed by official change control, etc. with all supporting documents. So it is necessary to follow all QMS procedures for compliance. Submit the data as a response to the audit report. Submit the executive summary adequately as a response. Don't submit the QMS documents like deviation report and change control report along with the response unless the inspection report demands to send. I hope that the requirements of QC for successful completion of inspection are understood well. This approach will definitely make you successful and you will come out with flying colors. For other important communication skills and body language during the audit are discussed in part 1. Please go through the part 1 for more information. Thanks for watching. For more videos, please do subscribe, like and share. Thank you.